You're listening to News Talk Saga 960. Also streaming live on saga960am.ca.
I'm Norm Murray. It's 1:32. This is News Talk Saga 960, a.k.a. CKNT. By the way, if you're looking for law representation or a free consultation, go to kpalawyers.ca, where you can ask questions about litigation, business law, family law, criminal defense, collaborative family law, debt collection, human rights tribunal, private investigation, employment law, construction liens, liquor license law, cannabis law. They cover it all with their team. And we are so privileged to be able to feature one of the many talented members of the KPA team. And she is a co-founder. Her name is Preet Pannu, and she joins us today at News Talk Saga 960 over the phone. Hello, Preet. How are you today?
I'm good, Norm. How are you today?
Just fine. Thank you so much for taking time. I know that time is everything, and you guys are very, very busy at KPA. Has it been a busy summer?
It has been a busy summer, but this past week has been pretty calm, which is great because the summer's ending and we need some time to ourselves, too.
No, that's a good point, right? Nobody can take that away from you or begrudge you that. I think that all of us are better at what we do if we are occasionally given some downtime, right?
Yes, agreed. I also wanted to correct, I know you introduced KPA and you said the free consultation. We are no longer doing free consultation.
Okay.
We're so busy that we need to handpick some of our files, so we're charging clients now for our consultations.
I appreciate you being frank about that and correcting me. I do, sincerely. I need to have that once in a while. So, but of course, consultations can be arranged. And how long is a consultation typically?
Typically, we can go up to an hour, but we don't really cut it off at an hour. It depends on what kind of questions the client has and how we can assist them, because some clients have more questions than others. Some files are more complicated than others. Some require more information than others, so it varies.
Yeah, it makes total sense. KPA Lawyers is one of Mississauga's top law firms. They're at 100 Matheson Boulevard, and you can visit them. Of course, you can give them a call anytime you wish if you have any concerns, or you can go online to look them up and find out about the many positive reviews that they've received at the same time. And we're glad to have Preet with us. We're going to be talking about family law. 200 Matheson Boulevard. It's Suite 100, 200 Matheson Boulevard West, up at Matheson in here, Ontario. Call their telephone number, 905-965-6263. All right, so we're going to talk about family law a little bit today. And there's so many branches of this tree, really. I mean, we could go in many different directions, which we've done, actually, over the past weeks. And I thought today we would ask about separation and divorce. And not everybody understands, I don't think, what the main differences are. I mean, is it not enough to be separated? Why is a divorce a good thing in a separation, or is it only necessary under certain circumstances? What would you say, Preet, is the difference between a marital separation and a divorce?
So that's a question that I'm commonly asked, and it's as simple as if you're looking to remarry, you need to get a divorce. And why that's important is because we live in a jurisdiction where you can only be married to one person at a time. Right? So I know there's jurisdictions that allow otherwise, but our jurisdiction only allows one marriage at a time.
Are there any in Canada that you're aware of that allow more than one? I didn't think so.
No, not in Canada.
Right.
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
So that's the predominant difference between separation and divorce. Divorce allows you to remarry, and especially when you go and apply for your marriage certificate, they will ask you for your divorce certificate. So that's important. And separation, the word separation is as simple as me telling my spouse, we are no longer together and I'm separated from you. And you could be living under the same roof and be separated. You could be living two separate lives under the same roof and be considered separated. You can't be living the same life and be considered separated. There are some caveats to that. But simple as that, again, like I said, divorce simply means that you can remarry.
So did you say you cannot be living under the same roof and separated?
You can be living under the same roof, but you can't be leading the same life as a marital spouse, as a couple.
Right.
And say to the world that you're separated. When you're eating together, when you're sleeping in the same bed, when you're having the morning coffee together, having dinner together, watching TV together, going out to weddings, going to family events, portraying to the public that you are a couple, but yet you want to tell each other that you're separated. There's differences in terms of when you are separated and not for the purposes of family law.
Very interesting to me, because I wonder if somebody signs legal separation papers, yet conducts themselves as you just described, that's a conflict then, yes?
No, at that point, if you've officially signed separation papers and you've told each other you are separated, and now you're just cohabiting as a common law spouse, let's say, and you've filed your divorce paperwork, then there's no debate to that.
Right.
Because you've already filed your divorce paperwork, but you continue to live together for the sake of the kids. We have many couples that do that. They file their paperwork and they're considered to be divorced because they're in the process of it, or they have received their divorce certificate, but they don't want to tell the kids yet, because the kids are too young, or the kids are going through some tough time, or whatever the case may be. So they choose to live together, and they choose to portray to the children that they are a couple, but they're leading very separate lives. What I'm trying to say is it's not as simple as saying I'm separated to be separated.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I understand that. It's a very complicated thing, and I'm sure very couple specific.
Yeah, and everything I've said is extremely very specific to each scenario.
Yeah.
What I've said cannot be applied to everybody's situation. So that's where I would say, come talk to us, come tell us what your situation is, for us to actually sit down and determine what your actual data separation is, because that's very important. The whole point of separation is to determine your data separation for the purposes of equalization, which is normally the biggest thing to equalization, meaning the division of your family assets. And debts.
We're speaking with Preet Pannu. She's a founding partner at KPA Lawyers, having experienced personal injury litigation, family law. She's represented hundreds of clients in both areas of law. She speaks not only English, but fluent in Hindi and Punjabi. And you'll also find many of the lawyers at the firm. They speak almost every language in Peel region and in the GTA that is represented for the most part. And my point is that you can feel comfortable going to KPA Lawyers, that they speak your language. And we're discussing family law and Preet is covering some general ideas about separation, about divorce. But truly, as she clearly pointed out, you should be contacting KPA Lawyers for your own situation to get the most accurate representation and accurate ideas. Now, the Family Responsibility Office is something that some people are not familiar with or don't even know it exists or what it is. I kind of know what it is, and yet I'm still not 100% sure I know what they do. What is the FRO, the FRO as it's called too? What does FRO do?
So FRO, which is an acronym for the Family Responsibility Office, they are, the way I like to describe it, they act on what the court orders them to do. They're a puppet of the court system. Mm-hmm. And they collect, their website should say similar words. They collect and they distribute money. And not just any money. It's money for child support purposes or spousal support purposes. And so when you're in litigation through the courts, or you've drafted an agreement and you wish for it to be enforced, you can hand it into FRO, and the only way FRO will act is if it is a court order. So even if you've done a separation agreement amongst yourself, you need to have it issued by the court, and then there's certain clauses that have to go as part of the order for FRO to get involved. And when FRO is involved, what they can do is they will garnish somebody's wages or collect from that person or garnish their tax return or tax refund and whatnot. And they will literally give it to the person, the recipient of that money in accordance with a court order. So suppose I owe someone child support, so what the government will do, or I call it the government, FRO's a government body, what they will do is they will garnish my wages per month, and they will remit the payment owed to my spouse in terms of child support payment that I owe my husband for a child that we have. If you don't have a job, or if you stop paying FRO, you're welcome to pay FRO instead of them garnishing your wages as well. But if you stop paying them at some point or stop giving the money to FRO, what they will do, they go as far as suspending your driver's license, they go as far as suspending your passport, they will go as far as putting you in jail for not making payments. So they have a lot of power in order to force somebody who owes child support, who's a payor, for the recipient to receive that money from that payor.
Now, Preet, if I'm not mistaken, there are examples where FRO is not necessary. Do you know what I mean? Meaning, let's say a parent owes another parent, I'm throwing a number up in the air, $500 a month, whatever that is. But if the parental relationship is reasonable, amicable, and the $500 a month keeps coming in, there's no reason for FRO to get involved. Is that fair to say?
That is very fair to say. The only reason we like to advise some clients to go through FRO is when you're in litigation, when you're in the court system and you know you can't agree to anything, and 5 years down the road, the other person is likely to stop paying.
Yeah.
At that point, you're going to end up back in the court system to get this order enforced through FRO, because the terms of that order at that time will not include FRO clauses.
Right.
FRO has to see that they have been ordered by the court. That's why I call them the puppet system.
Yeah.
Like they are a puppet of the court, right?
Mm-hmm.
They have to do what the court tells them to do. They cannot do anything that's out that hasn't been ordered in a court order. They have no jurisdiction to act unless the court orders them to act.
Is there a fee to use FRO? In other words, the person who receives the money thanks to FRO going and getting it for them, do they owe them a percentage? Is there a nominal fee of some sort?
No, I don't think so.
Free.
I've never actually been involved with FRO directly myself, but from what I know. So how FRO works is we just put the clauses into the orders, and then FRO goes on from there. We don't actually interact with FRO in order to do anything. But the FRO usually doesn't talk to us unless the client signs an authorization and we submit it to them for them to speak to us. Otherwise, FRO will deal directly with the client.
We're speaking with Preet Pannu. She's one of the founding members of KPA Lawyers here in Mississauga at 200 Matheson Boulevard West, Suite 100. The telephone number is 905-965-6263. Go to kpalawyers.ca and sign up for a consultation. Go in and speak to somebody. Go speak to Preet, speak to one of our great team about the situations in family law that you're concerned about, or other law too. Now, I know I have one more question for you about mediation, and I think it's relevant to separation, divorce, FRO. When does a mediator get used, and how is it helpful? How is it a benefit in a separation or divorce situation, Preet?
So when we have clients come into our office for consultations and they tell us everything is amicable, but there are these two issues that we can't come to a resolution. It's not that it's ridiculous. It's just something we can't agree to. Sometimes a spouse just needs the benefit of a third party, and that's where a mediator comes in handy. A mediator is literally a third party who doesn't have anything to do with the case, doesn't have anything to do with the files, and they sit down and they hash all the issues out. They list all the issues out and they say, okay, these are the issues, this is how I think you should resolve the issues. And mediators are usually someone who are very well versed with the family law procedures and the case law. So they're able to say, if you take this to the court, if this comes before a judge, this is what a judge is likely to say to you. So instead of going and wasting your money through litigation, going through the court system, which is very slow, this is what I would recommend you guys both settle on. And most of the time, mediation is successful with couples who get along, who have gotten along, and they know that their marriage is at the end. The only time we don't recommend mediation is where there is domestic abuse, because there's a power struggle. One party is not always willing to say what they want because of the power imbalance between the relationship, which is as a result of domestic abuse. So that's the only time we don't recommend mediation outright. But other situations, we always say try. And mediation can literally happen at any stage. It doesn't have to be a certain stage. It can happen at any stage in the matter. It can be already, the file can already be in court, and we propose mediation in between. And sometimes that works best for clients than waste their money through litigation.
Potentially saving thousands of dollars also. Not that money's the most important thing, but that's one thing that scares people away from courts and lawyers. Let's be, just being honest with you, Preet, is how the cost can quickly mount up. But mediation may be a more affordable alternative if you feel you can work things out and get the opinion of an ex-lawyer or judge who sometimes is a mediator, or like you say, people who just really know the system. I wish we had more time. We'll spend more time again another time next week, hopefully with another topic from the myriad of the web of legal topics to choose from. Preet, but thank you so much for spending this time with us, and I encourage everyone to go to kpalawyers.ca. You can also call 905-965-6263. KPA Lawyers, the way lawyers should be. Preet Pannu, thank you. Speak to you again soon.
Thank you.
Bye for now. Okay. KPA Lawyers, always a welcome visit here at News Talk Saga 960, and I'm sure you have your own questions and thoughts. And if we didn't cover them, that's okay. Everybody, it's a specific thing for each couple, each person, every scenario. But do give them a call over there and get a consultation going for yourself to get some real answers from really good lawyers, all of them at kpalawyers.ca. Back in a moment at News Talk Saga 960.
You're listening to News Talk Saga 960. Also streaming live on saga960am.ca.